Hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a good evening. This is 1010 Noggin. We're going to be back to playing some Fallout 76 tonight. I actually, these days, I kind of prefer Craftopia. It's been a lot of fun. That's where I want to invest most of my time. But they have launched the new season for Fallout 76. There's some new stuff like legendary perks. There's the new legendary run, whatever you want to call it. It's not called the legendary run this time. But anyway, there's new stuff to look at, so we'll take a little time to see. And there are some of the rewards on the new season that, like the very last one, I can't remember offhand. We'll look and see what it is. I just remember it was something that I would probably want. Oh, it was a greenhouse. They actually have a kit now for doing, like greenhouse for your camp. So. And not just a fixed size greenhouse like they did with Red Rocket Garage and the shelter and all that. It's actually like pieces that you can build your own stuff out of. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, let's go ahead and get going. Took a look in the Atom shop and didn't actually see anything all that thrilling. I think they usually have some freebies every week that, even if I don't think I want them, I usually go grab them just because they're free. They don't necessarily come around all that often, so I should go back and take a look at those real quick. Hope you're having a good evening. I've not been able to... I was thinking this week I might try getting up super early and try streaming in the morning. It's really not gone well. Every night at around 11, I figured this is it. This is the night I'm going to actually get some rest, get up early, get a start, and it just doesn't happen. So, kind of streaming during the dead hour here. I don't know if there's actually going to be that many people online. Oh, no. We need our camp. So, try to find another world. Hey, Barry, how are you doing? So in regards to 76, or I mentioned Craftopia, if I'm going to answer, I want to make sure I'm speaking to the right thing. 76 is pretty good. I've certainly got a lot of gameplay out of it. The only reason I started switching lately is because I feel like I've sort of exhausted the bulk of what it offers. So I'm looking for something a little different. Oh, really? Seriously? This is the first time this has happened. The spot that my camp is in right now generally is not all that popular for camps, but it is pretty good sized. I think that's part of the problem too. So if anyone has a camp anywhere near that area. 76. Yep. Yeah, 76 is fun. It's a little bit like Fallout 4. It's not like a huge quantum leap ahead of where Fallout 4 was in terms of the graphics and the playstyle and that sort of thing. There are a lot of systems that are different. Perks work very differently. Your special attributes work differently. You have a more limited sort of a canvas for building, limited area. You can't, like, when I was playing Fallout 4 and I had finished the game however many times and went in and decided, I'd like to just take one spot and really build it up. So I went to, I can never remember what, Sanctuary Hills, and built that up. Had a lot of fun with it. You could do tons of stuff with it. This is about as extensive as I've built in this game, and this took a lot of planning to make sure I had enough build budget to actually be able to do this sort of a thing. So it is fun. The multiplayer thing's okay. The community around Fallout 76 is actually pretty good, so that's a good thing. You don't have a ton of griefers. My problem with it is that they still they favor one style of gameplay over all the others, so they offer certain things for people who like building up their camps and doing that. But there's still so much of it that's oriented around variations on the same old themes, It's kind of like in when they added content to Fallout 4, a lot of the time it was, hey, we added a new location for you in some of the expansions. And yeah, at least there would be a lot of new creatures and that kind of thing. Here, when they add stuff, it's like, okay, here's some more ghouls. Here's some more Scorched. It's like most of the time it's the same enemies over and over. There are a couple things that they advertised early on with the game that they've never really done that much with, like the Flatwoods Monster. The Mothman story ended up being a little flat from where I sit. It sounded like they're going to have a lot more varied, really strong narrative content. When they added the Wastelanders, they built up the narrative part of it a lot. Definitely, there's a lot more there now, which is good. Still, it's good. It's worth a try. If you are uncertain about it, what I would probably recommend is they occasionally have free weekends. I would look one of those up and try it out for a weekend, try out some of the events and that kind of thing, and see what you think. Like I said, I've obviously spent a lot of time here. I've invested a lot in it, so I like it. But I think I've probably played about 600 hours, if I remember right. And it got so grindy. Like, there's really nothing new. And then whenever they add new duns, it's like, okay, well, I've already done everything in the game. This is just kind of a new way to kill all the things I've already killed. So it didn't feel like it offered a ton. But that's just where I sit. There are people in this game who are already like level 800 or more. I'm level 175, somewhere around there. So, worth a try. There's a lot. I've had a lot of fun with it. It feels like one of those games that never quite lives up to its full potential. What in the heck is going on there? Do I have my perks? Oh, I forgot about it. So this is something new, actually, that they just added this. Yeah, I want to make sure I've got all the right perks enabled here. So this is one thing that's different. This part of the game I really like. You can't just max out all your stats anymore. You actually have to be a lot more intentional about how you're going to spend your points. So the reason I was surprised that guy wasn't dying right away is that up until just this week, when you came into an area like this is on the map. This is one of the first areas that you find. So you start out, where do you start out? Start out here. It kind of directs you down towards Flatwoods, and eventually you can, it's a lot of people end up here in Morgantown. That's where my camp is. Lots and lots of very low level things here. They just added something to the game now where it will, in a much more aggressive way, adapt to your level. So because I just showed up here, now we're getting all the level 50 Scorched instead of all the low level ones. So this is good. This is going to add a little bit more. It's not going to be such a cakewalk going through here every day. I don't expect it's going to be super tough, but it's better than just going in and just sweeping up the place without really making any effort. And they have these things now, they just released this week also, called Legendary Perks, where that perk system, let me get over to the side here. So Legendary Perks, which I've never seen, I've seen it advertised, I've not gone in and played with it at all yet. Okay, so these are the perk points. So these are, you don't get to just use everything you want. I've got points assigned to the different special attributes, but I can take these and move them on or off. That's interesting. They have the shotgunner one there. Let's go ahead and put, say I want to be a heavy gun specialist for a little bit. Then I'm going to take these perks I've got down here and use expert heavy gunner. It's not going to let me use that one. Oh, there we go. It's a little sticky now. That's weird. And master heavy gunner. This button here, scrap, that's new. Previously, you would collect these cards, and you don't get all these cards at the beginning. You earn them level by level by level. So I've got, so you have different perk build-outs then. Like right now, I've got all my basics. Bloody Mess I use for additional damage. I tend to favor rifles. I favor stealth, so I've got a lot of stealth-based things over here. If I'm going to make ammo, then I've got perks for agility that let me make more ammo per resource, that kind of thing. But it used to be that you would kind of collect all these down here, and they just sit there. Like, if there are ones that you didn't want, you're never going to use, they just kind of take up space. Well, now they have this, there's this kind of a 2-level thing. So you can scrap these cards now. And I'm not going to scrap them right away. Cause actually, this one I can. We'll scrap that one first. Scrap that. We get 2 perk coins. I start out with 50. Okay. And now they have these, which this is the first time I've seen these. I've seen some of the descriptions, but yeah, so we can go through. They've got produce 50% more rounds when crafting ammunition. So that tends to be something I do. I sell a lot of ammunition at my camp in vending machines, so being able to produce it cheap is a good thing. Legendary strength. So they give you now a way to extend. You still can't go over the maximum level of 15 for each of your special attributes, but they do give you a way to build them up a little bit selectively. So we can get an additional strength and perk and +1 strength and +1 strength perk points. Perk points cap at 15. Okay. So it gives you a +1 strength bonus, but then you also get 1 more point. The 1 point to your strength gives you additional carry ability. The 1 added to your perk points gives you, like I could do, right now I've got 2 level 3s and a level 1 stacked on there. That would let me do 2 level 3s and a level 2. So I could get, even more damage from the heavy gunner perks, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit involved, but that's partially what makes it fun. You really have to strategize. You've got 50 levels where you gradually build up your special attributes. After that, now, you'll start getting the ability to get the special perks so that you can tailor things a little bit more to what you want. And I haven't done just for the Scorch. Let's go ahead and get that out. I can't see it right now. So it's a 50 caliber machine gun. There we go. That does extra damage against the Scorched. Has special ammo called Ultracite ammo that you have to make for it. You can't just buy it somewhere. Other players sell it, but I do not see that many players selling it because I think the people who make it tend to keep it for themselves. There we go. That's more like it. If you liked Fallout 4, you will probably like this. I think that the expectations that a lot of the complaining that you heard early on about the game had to do with what people perceived as broken promises from Bethesda. It was still very buggy when it came out. I personally didn't experience a lot of the bugs, but a lot of people did. I think it probably varied per platform. And it felt kind of empty. It kind of felt like if you ever played Fallout 4 and kept playing after the main story mission was done, it would start to feel kind of hollow and empty after a while. That's what this felt like at first. Because there were no NPCs to interact with. Multi-purpose X. Anyway, yeah, so there were no NPCs for a very long time. You didn't have the raiders. You just had all these... You had monsters. You had nothing that you had any dialogue with. So you didn't have the dialogue trees or anything like you had in Fallout 4. You still really don't. That part is still... They did a little bit of that in the main story, but not very much at all. It's another example of something that I think when they were releasing the Wastelanders, they kind of hyped that aspect of it, that you would get different decision trees based on your attributes. So if you were high charisma, that would let you choose one path in the story, whereas if you're high intelligence, that might let you choose another path. Honestly, I never really saw any sign that it made that much of a difference. So, Bethesda is still Bethesda. So, the other thing they've got going on now are these seasons where you go through a scoreboard. You complete daily challenges to earn points. And where does this thing start? Oh, there we go. Those points, as you go along, are going to earn you additional little bonuses of various kinds. So, Armor Ace... I don't even know what that is. Maybe it's like an icon. You get a health kit bundle. You get a military footlocker stash. Not bad. As you go along towards the end, you get many, many more things. So the very last thing you get is a complete greenhouse building set The subjugator outfit. Lunchboxes are like little bonus things that you can share with the team. So additional like clothes and armor and special issue paint. Well, that's kind of cool. But like last season, I did not play I was not playing daily. I made it about a third of the way through all these. If I actually wanted to get the greenhouse this time, I'd be having to play every day, meeting all the dailies. So let's take a look at the challenges. So we have daily challenges like collect caps. It's just like collect caps at all, anywhere. Oh, just collect, 250 caps. Okay. So that's actually a little more challenging than what they had before. The dailies have not been that. Last season, the dailies were pretty easy. Complete a daily operation. Complete an event. So the events, if you look at the map, there are these things like this is an event. That's actually a pretty tough one. This is an event. What is that? Oh, that's part of it. They've added another story with one of the new seasons that I haven't done yet. Powering up Thunder Mountain. So all those, what are those? Hexagons are events. Operations are a new thing. So the operations are these. So daily ops uplinked. What do we have to do? Recommended level 50 plus. Restore uplink functionality to monitor for enemy activity. Let's try it. I have no idea where it is. I think I've done something similar to this. So far they've not been tough. It's been like a few enemies in the way. You have to navigate around and activate a few devices, and then they send one more, not even a very high level enemy after you. This looks a little different. I do not recognize this place. Which vault am I in? Uh-oh. Where did I put myself? I'm not on the map. Okay. Something new. So, you know, to their credit, they are still adding new stuff pretty regularly.
This is the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh.
Readings from uplinks in this area have stopped coming through. Find them, fix them.
Wow.
That'll need to be repaired first. Head out.
So the stealth is not working like it did before. This happened when my wife was playing the other day too. Normally the stealth works well enough that I can practically sneak up and like pick someone's nose and they wouldn't notice.
Yeah, it's not.
This time it is much less effective, which is a little disappointing because I have a lot of time and effort and perk points invested in stealth. It would be nice if I could continue to use it. Another nice thing about that gun, it will give you an additional, I can't remember, 200 and some odd points of damage resistance. Whoa! There we go. All done. Okay. Yeah, they've definitely stepped up the difficulty, that's frankly pretty welcome. That's one of the problems that we were running into before, is that it was a little bit on the easy side. So I'm not going to shoot at him right away. I really want to see, like, if I just walk up beside someone, are they going to let me... They going to let me keep my stealth, or is that a bug? Maybe they introduced a new bug. Dying power armor there. He just straight up saw me. That's nonsense. Yeah, there's a bug. Okay. Well, so that means I'm going to have to change my strategy going through here quite a bit. Because, like I said, I am accustomed to being able to use stealth to, like, sneak up beside someone and get them that way. And that just obviously is not going to work anymore. So that's one of the other things that I'd say you need to kind of watch out for with the game again. is while Bethesda is obviously investing quite a bit in it, there are still pretty regular defects. They've had odds and ends of issues with people being able to steal another player's equipment. A lot of similar problems. So, wow, okay, Ultrasight, yeah. So they changed some of the drops too. Because you used to never ever find Ultrasight ammo as just a drop after killing someone. I'm telling you, man, this is a real nuisance. So there are all these different builds you can do in the game, obviously. People do junkie builds, people do bloodied builds, where they use a bunch of perks where they did advantages for keeping their health intentionally low. I've been basing a lot of my approach and investment to the game on stealth builds. So hopefully this is something they fix pretty quick. I'm going to have to go look some stuff up after this because, yeah, I mean, I'm going to run out of stim packs here. I've not had this much trouble for a long time. At this point, it's probably going to be worthwhile to go get my power armor instead and just kind of forget the whole stealth thing.
Ken?
Yeah.
So...
I really can't hear you right now.
Okay.
There's a gun to blow up. Stop it. Yeah, it's doing a lot of damage. Jeez. There's no end to these guys. What, are they spawning, or is this a pre-populated level? Because if they're just going to keep spawning, I need to go back and just get the power armor and forget the stealth thing. Another power armor guy. Good night. Try switching guns too. Because the stealth armor I'm using, it actually has fairly decent protection. It's not going to be nearly enough for dealing with this. Most of the time, I'm set to sneak into a room, kind of sneak up on the guys, take them out real quick, and then sneak into the next room. This thing where it's just, yeah, constant barrage of attacks. So let's go ahead and go back, get the power armor, load that up, and see how that goes. Good night. Let's see, what else can I use? Thoroughly annoying. And that is a legendary, what do you call it? A Gauss shotgun. And it's not doing hardly any damage. So, head for the hills. I'll do this before dying again. Come on. And we'll die again. Back to the Ultrasight weapon. Oh, good night. Go away. It just will not stop. Next. Okay. Hit it. There we go. Well, let me go see if that's just in those levels or if there may be another issue somewhere else. In other words, like, can I sneak up on anyone at all, or does it just sort of disable the stealth when you're in the raid? It's basically a raid, right? Am I all out? Did I run out of stim packs? I think I did. Nope, still got him. I just didn't use it for some reason. Wow.
Looks like it might rain later.
Probably gonna have to patch up the armor here too.
Liberty is a farce. The dictatorship of the proletariat is not an idea, it's a...
You really saved me. You know that?
Anything else? What are we doing for water and stuff? Probably a little thirsty. Whoop, no, that's not what I wanted. That's fine though. Any food? We have nut chops. We have those. That'll help.
I need a hobby. Oh, wait, that's the whole bartending thing.
Let's see. See what the armor's doing. Oh, yeah. Man alive. Just got absolutely roasted in there. Get rid of those. Put on the shotgun perks. So we didn't get rid of those.
Back to work now, comrade.
Seems like it's always cloudy.
Get rid of the ones that I'm obviously never ever going to use. Probably get rid of that one too.
The only
Oh, we have a couple of those.
that can be trusted
There
is
we go.
a dared capitalist.
All right. Let's put Fix It Good on there.
There's pretty much nowhere else I'd rather be.
What am I missing? Ballistic. Good night. Alright, we'll just have to leave that alone for a little bit. Actually, here. Modify repair. I think I have some kits. Yeah. There we go. That'll do. How are the Duns doing? Fine, fine. Yep. Yep, nothing needs work there.
Deviant materials will be confiscated.
Be right back.
You got anything you don't want anymore?
Nope.
This unit will not rest until
Alright, well, let's go do some tests with that. With the stealth armor, see if other things can actually see me. And we'll start out with something relative. Well, I was going to say something low level, but that's actually very. I can't find that anymore now. Everything is high level. Which, again, no complaints there. That's actually really cool. It's good to have more of a daily challenge. Where else are there going to be some... Oh, I know where to go.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's to keep the motor from overheating.
There's one. He may have already seen me. Let's see how close we can get. Oh yeah, there are a couple of them up there. Good. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You gonna shoot? Okay, so yeah, noticing me a little bit, that's fine.
Lost. Gone.
There we go. Noticing me is one thing. Just straight up seeing me, like pretending like my armor isn't there, that's garbage. Now, like, I'm glad that it's not happening everywhere. That's cool. But it shouldn't be happening in the vault either, honestly. Because again, part of the point of the whole game is that you do your own custom build. You know, you get all the perk cards, you choose what kind of, how do you want to play? You know, what's your style going to be? So whether, I don't know if it's intentional or if it's still just a more particular bug than I originally thought, or what the deal is. If it's intentional, it's absolute garbage. Because again, you build up your character and you choose your armor and your weapons and everything according to how you want to play. Taking away one particular build's advantage in order to do, you know, in a very specific area like this, there's absolutely no point to that. If that's what's going on, and I'd be curious to see what other folks are saying about it, but if that ends up being what's going on, where they just decide, no, to make it harder, you can't use this, that, or the other thing. It's like, well, are you going to also take away the bloodied advantages and the junky advantages, and, you know, what else are you taking away? Are you making legendary weapons less effective? And if so, any of those things, why would you do that? What is the intent in designing the game so that, haha, suddenly all the stuff you invested in, you can't use? Seems a little strange to me. Well, no, we're not doing that event. Although that event's probably going to be a lot tougher now, actually. Let's go do it. This will be another good test. Might get my butt handed to me again, but that's okay. So to kick it off, we have to fire off this thing. Signal that we actually want to do the event. Oh, that's what I saw the other night. Okay, I don't think I've ever actually fired that thing off.
This is a top priority message. Raiders
You can't normally attack that thing. I'm curious if they will make it attack now that they're allowing higher level enemies. The whole point of that thing is that when you first start playing the game, you do this one, and you see a scorch beast fly overhead. You're supposed to like drop a brick, you know. But it doesn't actually, never attacks. It's just there to scare you. See how close. Oh, Death Tambo. That's okay. I'm going to need a melee weapon anyway. For some of the events that they have now. Now, them noticing me after I've shot someone, that's fair game. That's fine. That has been a constant. So this will be interesting too. So we have a level 50 person over there. I'm not sure how it's going to determine the level of the enemies that come in now, because there's a pretty good gap in our levels, so we'll see. Hey Jamie, how you doing? Glad to see you. There we go. Yeah, he's still level 50. Okay, so there's one of the daily bonuses. Awesome. Had a weird day, but it's doing okay now. I heard another grunt. He's dead. I keep trying to tell myself I'm going to get up early and play in the morning before work, and it just hasn't happened this week yet. You never know, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, we're starting the new season in 76, and there's a new scoreboard to work through. They introduced legendary perks now. There's a lot of new stuff. Some of it, honestly, already seems a little busted, but we're trying anyway. The Scorched are approaching. Where are they? Oh, there they are. How are we doing for ammo? Looks okay. Oh! Don't reload so much. So they seem to have disabled or there's a bug. The stealth perks don't work in some of the new events. They have this thing called a daily quest or something? Daily ops. This daily ops thing where you don't do it's kind of like a raid. Like it's a higher level, you know, kind of a run and done mission that you have to do. Stealth is useless in there. So I walked in, I'm sneaking around, and a bunch of very high level, what do they call them? The Blood Eagles start showing up. Just an unending stream of them, but all of them can see me. Like my stealth has absolutely no effect. There's no impact at all. Which kinda, you know, like the stealth armor's cool when you're able to use stealth. When you're not able to be so stealthy with it, it's not the best armor in the world, right? So if I try doing that again, I'm probably going to have to put on my power armor and try it out that way. It's always a little annoying when the Scorch show up at the top of the hill, just because a lot of them get stuck up there. Come get some. There we go. We'll share the experience. So the problem with that being is that those the daily ops things are now a little bit more connected to your daily quest for getting the points that you need for moving up the scoreboard. And if I can't use stealth there, if I have to use an alternate build all the time, that's going to make it tougher for me to actually get the dailies. It's going to make it tougher for me to get all the bonuses along the way. So, hoping they fix that. Now, in other respects, like the legendary perks and all that, those look pretty cool. That I'm looking forward to trying out a little more. Doing okay, Die? You got him? You got him. Reason you stop by is because of how much you need to constantly fix your... Oh, that you stop playing. Yeah. It's because of how much you need to constantly fix your armor and guns. You get irritated at how often everything breaks. Yeah. I found the same thing early on.
Cargobot is now on final approach. Eyes to the sky, people.
Okay. There are some perks in there that help with that pretty significantly, which I actually have one of them enabled now. I need to... Let's take those off. So armor and fix it good really do help quite a bit with that. Who's pulled a pin on what? Okay, it's just him. I thought there was some enemy standing near me that was doing that. Gunsmith, and the other one was Scrapper, I believe. Yeah. So now, when you use the right combination of things, you can heal. You can build your guns up to like twice their normal level of durability. That helps quite a bit. Cool, we got the event. .308 rounds, and the rest of it we'll leave. We'll go back and drop off the all my stuff. I'm over encumbered. But yeah, I mean, to get the level of perk that you need for that to be really effective, you don't actually get to really use it until you're fairly high level. Because it's at least 6 points of cards, right? So that's 6 levels you have to spend on the perks, and that's just for the armor. You want to do the weapons too. It's another 8 points, I think. So 14 levels total just on that. That's a lot. I'll get rid of that too. Now I can run. You're level 50 something, yeah. Yeah, to me this game doesn't really start to feel like you're hitting your stride until you're up around level 100 or something. Where at that point you've had a chance to kind of figure out what build you want to target. Someone having a bad day? Huh, go figure. But up until now, there's been this kind of a narrow range in between, say, 75 or so and where I am now, where it's like, cool. I'm like making progress. I have a goal. I'm building stuff. Wow. Okay. I'm building stuff up. And then you hit another level and you're like, well, now it feels like we're kind of depleted all the activities and goals again. So now that they've added the legendary perks, it's a little bit of, it's kind of a brute force edition in a way. It's a little coarse, but at least there's something new to target. And some of the legendary perks that they added actually let you increase your attributes beyond the initial however many points you get to spend on things, so that's kind of nice. There's all that. Okay. So let's take a look at the legendaries, and we'll start cleaning out my perks a little bit. So, going in here, we'll go ahead and go through each of the different attributes. So like Bandolier, ballistic ammo weighs 45% less. I'm going to keep at least one of those. But you notice that there's that thing at the bottom where you can scrap them now. I have 2 of them. I don't need 2. Do I want a level 2 Bandolier? What does level 2 get me? Where's the inspect or whatever? Inspect. There we go. 45% less or 90% less. I really don't have a problem carrying around ammo, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll get rid of one of those. So this saves up these coins. You look down the lower right hand corner of the screen there. You get the perk coins. Bear arms. You can do up to level 3 there. Heavy guns weigh 30% less versus up to 90% less. I don't want to get too gung-ho about getting rid of things. Like, this is an obvious scrap, one of them at least. Or, you know, all 3 of them. Did that not say 4 previously? Oh, it split them apart. I'm like, what did it do? That was weird. That scared the crud out of me for a second. Heavy guns reload 10% faster. So I am planning on building up my strength a little bit, so I'll hang on to that. Don't have any more of those, so that I need to get more of somehow. Your two-handed melee weapons now do plus 10% damage. Again, there are some things that require melee weapons now for the dailies, so we'll hang on to that too. Pack Rat, we have a level 3. That's good enough. Scattershot. We just mainly want to see the ones where we have duplicates. The rest we'll leave alone. Okay. Exterminator. How many of those do we have? Awareness, I've not been thrilled with, but again, we'll leave it alone for right now. Just your opinion is you do missions, but you're not working towards anything. Yeah. Yep. And the things that I want to work towards aren't really in line with what they develop in the game. Like, I find it really frustrating that I can't invest most of what I do in finding and building legendaries. I'd love to see them put more effort into the idea of people actually becoming like weaponsmiths, where you have to maybe sacrifice some combat abilities for doing that or something, you know. But the idea being that have some skill-oriented things around improving weapons. Mini games or something, I don't know, something where you actually have to develop a skill in the game to make better weapons that have better legendary attributes, or it just takes a ton of effort to do that. But then you should be able to sell them. Whereas what they've done right now is the only legendary weapons you can make require special plans. That require a particular currency that you then can't sell. If you try to set them down, they self-destruct. It's a little frustrating. This extra meat from animal corpses, I'm never ever going to use. I have no interest in that. So we'll get rid of both of those. Concentrated fire. We have 2 of those. Do I have one of those already? I have a level 3, right? Yeah, do I have awareness up there already? No, I don't. So concentrated fire, that's a level 1. I want to make sure I'm not accidentally deleting the wrong one, right? I don't always trust the game. So let's get rid of those. Those are all extras. Crack shot. Pistols have 10% more range and more accuracy when aiming down sights. See, not me specifically, just with the game in general. It's made so anybody can jump in. It doesn't tie to other games or have depth. No, I agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. I'm trying to add to that by saying that some of the things that might turn into goals for some people, they tend to work out of the game. So it ends up being this system where it's like, here we've made a new skin so that your gun looks different when you kill the same things. Or here's a new gun. You can use it to kill the same things. And it looks different or sounds different when you pull the trigger or something. It's like, yeah, not a ton of depth. Expert archer, we're never doing bows. Just nope. Expert picklock, we're going to keep around. Exterminator, sure, why not? These actually, even though that looks like a lot of duplicates, there's a reason for having both a level 3 and a level 2 and doing a different build out here, so I'll hang on to that. Green Thumb, we're keeping. That's a really important one. Grenadier, same. Long Shot. Do I have a Long Shot? No. Okay. No Grenadier up there. Master Picklock. Panopictographist. You hear directional audio when in range of a magazine. Until I'm sure that I really need to scrap something, I'm not going to worry about it too much. So Refractor gain plus 10 energy resistance. Maybe. Sniper I'm going to keep. Tank Killer, same thing. Having a couple of them is kind of a part of a strategy. So let's see. Things I will never ever use here. So I've got one of the... Why do they split them out into two different groups? Again. Nope. Cannibal. We're not doing the cannibal thing. I know some people love it. It's not my game. Not my thing. Nuka-Cola products are now twice as beneficial. Drinks, Dromedary. We have 1, 2, 3. Do I have Dromedary up there? Nope. Oh, but we have a level 3 right there. So we can get rid of one of them. Because then we have a level 3. We can also make a level 2. Take less damage from fire attacks. Ghoulish. We'll keep that. Good doggy. Eating dog food is now 3. I've never used it. I'll never use it. Homebody. Dean Grad. Yeah, that should be handy. That's only up to level 2 though. So anything beyond 2 of them. Also, Homebody is one of them. I kind of, in my head, I divide them up between the active perks, things that you want to keep enabled all the time when you're in combat, and either crafting or passive perks, things that you only want to enable when you're doing a certain job, right? Ad hoc perks. Lead Belly, take 30% less radiation from eating or drinking. Don't need it.
I dreamed of the Mothman the other night. I think it was a dream.
Okay, Rad Resistant, we'll keep. Rejuvenated, you gain increased benefit from... Yeah, that has come in handy at times. Again, it's only a level 2. We have a total of 3 of them. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and do that. Slow Metabolizer. We have 5 of those. You can only use up to 3. Slowly regen radiation damage between the hours of... No, we're not going to use that. I cleared the enemies attacking the water lines. Oh, let's see. Clear the enemies attacking the water lines so a robot can make tea. Here's a handful of items we magically give you because we can't bother to add depth by seeing how you got them. Yep. Yeah, and I know, and a lot of the rewards... You're right, the rewards from the missions aren't at all thematic. Yeah, they don't tie into anything you just did. And a lot of them... Once you've done even the really high level missions, the joke is, like, there are a couple of the ones that you do out east, right? High level area, and you have to go and enable these devices and fight off some fairly high level bad guys, and then you enable all the devices and it drops this thing from outer space, right? It's this like capsule containing supplies and resources, and you figure they launched this into outer space. This has got to be something really, really important. And you open it up and it's like a can of dog food and a bottle of water or something. It's a waste. An absolute waste. Animal Friend. Aim your gun at animal below your level. I've never gotten that thing to work. I don't know. Like, I'm going to keep it out of morbid curiosity, but that's about it. Even by saying you found it at the bottom of your cup of tea or something would be better, right? There you go. I know. What you gonna do? I know. I'd love to find any game that put that much thought into... Any game that put that much thought into what it does, that also has a lot of the same attributes, like the ones I keep going over: combat, crafting, technology trees, all that stuff. Let's see, 50%. Yeah, we got 2 of those. We can get rid of one of them. Blood packs not satisfy. Yeah, I'm not going to drink blood packs. I don't do that. Bodyguards gain 6 damage and energy resist for each teammate, excluding you. Maybe. I'll hang on to that for a little bit. players you revive come back with health regen for 15 seconds. That could be kind of handy. We'll keep those. Stimpatch and Redaway will now work much more quickly. Good. Happy Camper, Hunger and Thirst grow 40% slower when in camp or a team workshop. Yeah, maybe. That's a good one. We have 2 of those and 1 of those. Non-player vendors. I'll hang on to it because, frankly, like I should be using that when I go to White Springs to buy plans and that kind of thing. See if that works. Players you revive are tiered of all rads. That's kind of a low level one. That's not very... I mean, I can just give him some Radaway, right? In fact, this one, it's the same thing. You revive them, they come back. Well, I'm undecided on that. I'll err on the side of caution for now. Okay, get rid of the dupe. Tenderizer. Make your target receive 5% more damage for 5 seconds after you attack. Okay. Team Medic. Your Stimpaks also heal nearby teammates. That's a good one. Suppressor. Reduce your... Strange in numbers. Positive mutation effects are 25% stronger if teammates are mutated too. No. The mutation stuff requires too much fiddling for me to have much interest in it. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so we got some points here. I'm not sure if maybe... Yeah, we'll try to get up all the way to like 150. Maybe we can get 2 levels of something. Let's go look at the legendary. So one of the ones I know I want to get is this ammo factory. So initially produce 50% more rounds when crafting ammunition for a 1-star. That just seems like that's a huge gain. That is intense. And that's it? All good? Used it? I didn't have to spend points? Oh, the coins are just for leveling things up. Really? Is that how it works? Okay, let's try putting other things in the slots here. Blood sacrifice. When you die, teammates gain... I don't have teammates. I'm a loner. Generate 1 combat enhancing chem. Every hour up to... No. Enemies killed with a melee weapon? No. Enemies killed with a thrown... This one sounded fun. I'm not sure... I have not been using a ton of grenades. But this might justify using a lot more grenades. Let's see. You like the game. Don't hate it at all. Just got tired of specifically playing it. Watching 76 doesn't bother you. No, I know. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, that's why I've been, I've been going on for a long time about trying to find something to throw into the mix here. And it's more frustrating when you can see the potential in it, right? It's like you have these ideas that don't feel very far-fetched. It just feels like missed opportunities on the developer's part to bring in a much broader, more diverse audience. Just more sales. Why wouldn't... I don't know. I think they know how to sell who they know who to sell to. They know how to sell who they know how to sell to. There we go. And learning how to sell to a new audience probably doesn't interest them because that's a really difficult proposition. We're going to use that one. That one just sounds fun. 10% chance enemy attacks recharge your power arm. Don't worry about that. Well, unarmed. No. Enemies killed with a ranged weapon have a 10%. Oh, man, yes. Enemies killed with a ranged weapon have a 10% chance to explode. Yeah. Range sneak damage increases damage to target by 10% for 10 seconds. That sounds pretty good. This is a good selection of stuff. Like there's some kind of challenging trade-offs here. So how do I go back? Oh, there we go. Okay. me inspect that one. So we get so that's interesting. So the ammo perk, initially it's like 50% more ammo, and at 5, however many stars it is, it's like 150% more ammo. It's a huge bonus right at the beginning, and a just gargantuan bonus by the time you max up the card all the way. This one, 10% chance to explode. Like, I don't think you're going to see that very often at all, right? And then the maximum is just a 1 in 5 chance. So I'm not sure if that one will stay. This one, ranged sneak damage. Increases damage to target by 10% for 10 seconds. So this increases damage to target by 40% for 10 seconds. That's pretty good. We'll think about that. Is that melee? Melee VATS. Yeah, we don't do that. Plus 50 poison damage resist when wearing a matching set of armor. That's an interesting one. You feel like 76 was a money grab, and the more extreme they make prices for stuff, it'll only leave the 76 extremists playing, who will pay a lot of money for new stuff. I think that's partially true. The money grab thing, I struggle with a little bit, honestly, because knowing how expensive it is to run the infrastructure, it's also, like running the servers for this thing, it's a huge risk. I'm not saying they aren't making money on it, but... And there are a lot of practices they have that feel disingenuous and problematic. You know, it's... I don't want to sound like I'm over defending them. The thing is, the legendary perks thing, this is a really good example. This looks like a feature they probably wanted to have. In an ideal world, they would have had this feature in version 1. Like at release, they would have done this. Had they built this in at release, they would have done it would have taken significantly more time to develop. Like here we are, almost, is it 2 years in? Almost 2 years in since the initial release of the game. And they're just now getting it done. And that's 2 years of data from players. 2 years of data from players is to what people actually want. Not that I'm convinced they're actually using all that data. But there's at least 2 years of opportunities for things. So it's true, but you think they thought a lot more people would be playing. Yeah, probably. You know, I don't think any company releases something going, that's cool, we're not going to have that many people. People won't use it initially. So, yeah, I think they did. But again, saying that it's a money grab from a corporation, to me, from where I sit, it's like saying, and water is wet and the sky is blue. This is why most corporations exist, is to grab money. They're money extraction organizations. And sorry if that sounds cynical, but I've too much evidence and experience and theory and economics out there to to ever suggest otherwise. Yeah, it was a money grab. It's just that to me, they would never do anything any different. That's what they're going to do, is one money grab after another. So auto unlock still, like, to me, the idea that games are made out of the ideal of making a really cool game that people are just going to love, like the developers want that. I think the people who are developing the assets for the game and developing the code, some of them are almost certainly going to want that kind of thing. For other developers and people who create assets in that, it's just a job. They got to make a living, and this is what they do. And maybe they got in for idealistic reasons, but then it turns out, like doing any kind of software job, it's a grind. And the gaming industry in particular is awful in that respect. It is the worst, most strenuous kind of grind, I think, that you can find out of any kind of programming job. And so the idea that they're making a game for any other reason than as a money grab, is an opportunity to rake in a bunch of cash from people all at once. I think the number of people who are doing it for the more non-fiscal reasons are going to be in the minority, and even they are going to be beholden to participating in a money grab in order to get the game out there and get it marketed and get it supported and all that. So,
Nowhere else I'd rather be.
personal opinion.
How many people can say that these days?
Like, do I think they released it too early? Personally, I'm maybe in the minority. I don't think they did. I think they should have. Last year, up until recently, I would have said they should have been way more transparent about the fact that they were releasing an early. Maybe they should have. Maybe they should have called this an early access game, and that might have changed people's perception. I think there's still going to be a lot of people out there who are like, "No, don't do early access. Finish the game, then give it to us." And this may sound harsh, but I think that's actually I don't think that works. I don't think I'm necessarily being jaded about it. I know that it's very, very difficult to know what's going to sell, what people are going to actually be willing to pay for. If you can, and you should be absolutely transparent about what you're doing, but if you can release something earlier than later and get real feedback, and getting that feedback is its own challenge, man. I mean, it is hard to do. To get really good data from people who are using your software, your game, whatever it is. But if you can do that, you're going to end up making a much better game. And maybe it's the game that you did the early access on, but if you're a company like Bethesda and you have tons of properties that you're releasing, you're going to be getting feedback. Some of the feedback is not going to be just for that game. It's going to be across a lot of the things. They'll learn lessons that they can ostensibly share from one package, one product to another. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of things that they've done recently that I know a lot of people have been upset with, that to me it's like, I think you're going to see more and more of it. See, yes, I know, but my thought is that it's normal, so that's the base. So my definition on Money Grab is this: they try to push the game out as fast as they can with as little effort as possible. Absolutely, you're exactly right. They will do that. They will be like, what can we cut? What can we patch in for now? The number of discussions I had with product owners, and not in the gaming industry, this is just software in general, the number of discussions I had with product owners where I felt like I, as a developer, was the one defending the people who had to eventually use the software to say, no, don't cut the corners. Don't try to look for some half-assed way to do this. Like, look, you're going to do this, invest the time. You're going to be charging for it. Take the bloody time to go through and do this. It is extraordinarily common in my experience, and not just my experience. You can go look around. You'll find lots of people who have the same experience where, yeah, they're going to rush it out the door as quickly as they can. Absolutely. Guaranteed. Part of it, too, is that the software business, like a lot of businesses, operates on fixed schedules. It's not like ideally with software, anything in software, not just software, other technology too, but especially software, the ideal is that you do one little teeny viable thing and you get it out the door and you let people use it, and then you keep iterating on that, and you go and you go and you go, and that, combined with good architecture and good technology and good practices and good all the things, ends up making a much, much better product for everyone. People get something that gives them real value sooner, and that's a really key thing. You don't push out crap early. You push out things that maybe don't have all the features that you want to see in the final thing, because without talking to people, you don't actually know what's going to be most important to people. So something like this, part of the problem is that they package it so that it looks like, look, it's a finished game. Right? Look here. They have all the what do you call them? I can't think of the word. It's bugging me. They have all the trailers and everything. They start putting out, the little sneak peeks of the game, and they have the gaming conferences where they get them up there and they're talking about, and it's going to have this and it's going to have that and it's going to, whereas it would be much better to be a lot more transparent and say, we have this idea, we don't know if it's going to work, so what we're going to do is, small product, it's not going to have all the features, but you can go ahead and use it. If you love Fallout like we do, you're going to love being able to try this, and then you know what? You're going to get to participate in what Fallout becomes. that is a completely different message than here's a complete finished product, give me $50 for it. Oh, what do you mean it's not done? Like, to me, that's where the problem comes from. So just as an example, Far Cry New Dawn was a money grab. They took the same map from Far Cry 5, made it so it was smaller, and you couldn't go in half the places you could have before. Right. Yep.
And the drinks are cold.
Shady practices.
Better than this, Beckett.
Let's see. So I think I've got one more slot. Let me go over here and see if I can find something for it. We have strength, +1 strength, +1 strength perk points. That seems like a really good one to get. Let's do that. And then the next one is locked until level, what, 200. So I've got a while before I can get that one. Let's inspect. So I can level this one up 1. And that'll let, yeah, I think, yeah, let's do that. Rank that up. 50 points. Confirm rank up. Awesome. Ammo Factory, ranked 1. Also 50 points. So there's that. I'm going to go try using that. I think I may save that till quite a bit later, because even just 50% more ammo is going to be huge. This one? %13 chance to explode. It's a tiny little increment, right? 30% chance to explode. That sounds fun. Might be a bad idea here, but we're going to do it. Alright, we have new legendary perks. Let's go make some ammo. Did they blow up my... Oh, I think they cut my power.
This land is filled with the fill of the forest
I see your ellipsis. I'm waiting for... I'm waiting for the rest of your story there. Although I'll say, I mean, just based on what you've already described, the idea of taking away content and calling it something new, yeah, that's garbage. So the weapon, oh yeah, so they took away the weapon customization, and it's 1/4 the length of Far Cry 5, and costs the same amount of money. Yeah, yes, there. I absolutely agree.
Having a good one. I hope.
I am having a good one. Let's put Mr. Sandman on there. Or rather, Ammo Smith, and take off Mr. Sandman. You know what I mean. And we'll craft. I don't think I have any Violet Flux. I can't make the 50 caliber ultrasight ammo, but we can make some other stuff. Yeah, so 54 a shot now? Or, again, no pun intended. I didn't put on Super Duper. Now I'm forgetting the other way. That's okay. Before I do this, let me make sure I've not actually used this for a while. So let me see. Troubleshooters, suppressed handmade, vampires. There it is. 45s. That's right. So by your definition, where it's like reused content, reduced ability, they didn't actually make anything new, they took stuff away, charged the same amount of money. This starts to go in that direction because they did charge the same amount of money. Like I said, to me this was an early access game released under a finished product marketing banner. So yeah, I could agree with you there. I could see where this was partially, again, based on the definition you've given there, this is partially a money grab. Like I said, maybe I'm just cynical, but I see most products, at least by corporations, as being fitting somehow to one degree or another into that category. Compare that to something like, what's it called? What's the game Seth plays? Warframe. I have to be more specific, yeah. Warframe. So Warframe has been releasing new stuff for a long time. I won't try to speak to all the details. I think it's a good counterexample. It's a smaller group of devs who are, it really is, has had to have been more of a passion project than a, big corporate push out the, product and get as much money as possible. It hasn't been until recently that it's really started to ramp up in terms of what they've been able to do. But they've been adding features to that thing for, man, long time.
6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or five or six. I think.
5 or 6 years. And then, actually we need some of the energy ammo. People use money grab as a somewhat general term at times, so I just think you'll see it a little more your way with actually explaining. Yeah, that makes sense. I think he gave a good example. To me, it clarified it. Okay. So yeah, honestly, I think I'm going to be able to get by with just keeping that new ammo legendary perk right where it is. I think that'll be fine. Let's take off Super Duper, put on Bloody Mess, take off Ammo Smith, put... Where is it? Sandman.
Ready for business.
There it is, Mr. Sandman. Whoops. Now, let's go see if we can get some people to blow up by shooting at them with a ranged weapon. Oh, actually, I have to use the grenades, don't I? Ooh, what the heck happened to me? I didn't notice myself getting shot. Apparently I was. What kind of grenades do I have? I've got neuter grenades. Floater and Nasher grenades. Let's get some more grenades. I've got them somewhere in here.
This unit has been assigned with the task of spreading the power of the
Plasma grenades. We'll take those. And let's use the plasma grenades right away. See how this goes. Whoa, that was wrong. Turn, close the door. There we go. I think the rocket launchers probably already took all the bad guys here. I'll have to go find someone new. Oh. You don't want to get them. Let's head down here. Anybody home? Have one. That's right. Let me check that perk. Yes, that. Yeah, wanted to make sure I leveled up the right one. And then the other thing I forgot to do while I was there. So I've got 2 unused points. Brilliant. Let's take that off of there. Got Master Shotgunner, Master Heavy Gunner. Let's go to pick a perk. And then go to filter for strength. Cost 1, luck, agility, intelligence, charisma, perception, strength. Master a heavy gunner. Oh. Yeah, let's go ahead and level that up. Do an extra 10% damage here. Now, when we looked at the... Need to find it. The final word. Do a 91. Let's just see what happens. When you played Far Cry New Dawn, you honestly was extremely upset because they took so much out, didn't add much in. Yeah, fair enough. Car hard to tell the difference when it kills him so quickly anyway. But this will be better against Scorch Beasts. Took so much out, didn't add much in. You did about 3 or 4 short missions, was about half done with the game in a few hours. Yep, that's garbage. That is a garbage product. Nice. So I think this will help me conserve ammo just a little bit. I don't have to shoot them quite as much. Okay. Now let's go back to grenades. See how that does. Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example of something similar. I mean, back to this game in terms of, did it disappoint my expectations when I first started playing? Honestly, it did not. I really liked a lot of the things that they changed or added in the game. But I think, too, that part of my enjoyment in the game was based on the perception of, oh, cool, what is coming next? You know, it was a combination of what was currently in the game and then seeing the potential for lots more stuff to add. And some of that they have. Some of it, not so much. And it did take a very long time to go through. It wasn't like they really shirked anyone on content in this game. The nature of the content, some people didn't like. That's very different to me than just omitting stuff, having a few short levels and you're done with the game. This thing had lots and lots of content. It's just that a lot of it was content that people didn't necessarily like all that much, honestly. Hey, we got our first thing for the season. You know, a lot of... Oh, we did our second one also? Or did I barely miss it? So yeah, a lot of people were pretty upset that they really missed the NPCs. They felt like it just should have had those from day one. I was okay for a while without them. Woo! Was that the explosion? Oh, it was! And New Dawn was $60, the same as Far Cry 5, which was amazing. They had a great story, and you can't give it enough praise. Well, there's part of the thing, too. I mean, that on its own, what you're describing, like, that's garbage. That's like, yeah, that, that's someone squeezing money out of their fan base. The contrast, the fact that Hello? the fact that the previous game, the previous iteration of it was so good, making it so that by comparison the new thing was so much worse, just exacerbates the whole problem, right? No, I'm not joining that event. We're just going to keep walking by. So I think that ghoul who exploded back there was the first case of that perk where a ranged weapon can make the enemies explode. So that's kind of cool. Makes me want to rank that one up a little bit, even though you don't get a huge increase in the number of... you don't get a huge increase in the odds that something will explode. There's someone over there named after whiskey. I don't know how to say that word. I've never heard that name said out loud. Like it looks like Lafroig. But I'm pretty sure that's not it. Crazy Scottish people and their weird pronunciation. I called it whiskey. True Scotch aficionados may want to pummel me for that. I don't know. I lose track of which ones are bourbon, which ones are whiskey, which ones are Scotch. It's all new to me. So many people liked Far Cry 5, and within a year, New Dawn came out. It's your first ping in your brain, and then that's a money grab game coming. Yep. Oh. Everybody's higher level now. So that's cool. Well, where can we go to have a real chance of getting thrashed? Someplace that would have been really easy before. Let's have some coffee. And we'll drop the boiled water and have some snack cakes. Some honeys, some purified water. That'll do. Alright, let's see. Yeah, we'll head out to Point Pleasant. Haven't been out there for a while. Should be some very high-level cultists there now. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm still sitting here trying to think of any games, similar experiences I might have had. And honestly, I'm thankful to say I don't think I've run into the same kinds of problems. Part of that, though, is I haven't played I haven't played a huge diversity of games. When I get into a series, I play the crap out of it. Like, I don't play a lot of different things. And so I think a lot of people felt kind of bummed about, I was really into BioShock for a while. For a long time. Oh, everyone's already dead again. This is no fun. And one of the DLCs for BioShock Infinite was pretty short. It was not a long game at all. And the subsequent games were quite a bit longer. More involved. I think a lot of people had kind of a bad taste in their mouth from the first one. But for me personally, I was surprised at how short it was, but it was like, well, okay. I didn't have a lot of experience to compare it to, so I really didn't think about it that much. Cool. So in Far Cry 5, when you first played it, you had so much emotion of anger against the main bad guy because he tells this sad story about doing something terrible. Yeah, I've never played any of those games. What was that? Oh, an automatic combat rifle. I have heard that they have a good, strong narrative element. But I don't even know the details of the stories. Alright, there's too many people here already dead. Like, I don't know if someone else just came through. If it's that, I've been seeing this lately where I show up and everyone dies. And not because I shot them or anything. They just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they fall over dead. Go to find the Queen Mirelurk. She falls over dead. It's trying to give me a complex. Everyone's already done. I got some medics out of it at least. Well, now I hear someone.
On the great day of reckoning, the worthy will become
There
one
we go.
with the divine light.
Hello.
I live only for you, holy Mothman. Holy Mothman.
Here's someone else walking around. I don't see them.
Now you face justice.
They do. They're not really connected other than Five and New Dawn, but they have a good story. Yeah, they strike me as kind of like, you know, when you look at Final Fantasy and you're like, what's the story? It's like, well, which one? Because they're all different. They have similar mechanics and a similar kind of stylistic vibe, but they're all separate. Well, most of them are separate, and not all of them are. Like, the series is more like kind of like meta branding than it is the name of the actual game. Any more medics? Some Stimpack, that'll do. There's the medics. I knew they'd have some. Although at this rate, with some of the higher level dailies, the daily ops things, I'm going to need more Stimpaks as well. I'm going to presume that's pretty much it. Everyone else is probably dead at this point. Alright, well, what other dailies do we have here? Let's see if we can maybe do one or two. Collect caps. We still gotta find more caps. Hack a terminal. Use a Stimpak. Oh, that's, again. Nuclear winter. When I look at NW, I hear either Northwest or Neverwinter. I've never played Neverwinter Nights. I don't know why I see that, but I do. I'm not completing the daily operation. That was just a pain in the butt. So we've got collect caps, hack a terminal. What about weeklies? Build up a workshop or camp. Claim a workshop. Yeah, we can start in on that. Yeah, let's go claim a workshop. I mean, that's going to be a lot more challenging now with, let's do this too. I should get a much higher level Deathclaw here now. Maybe it'll kill me. Hooray!
Death by Deathclaw.
What's that?
Nothing. Don't make any bad time.
Oh. But the main bad guy in 5 tells a story about how his pregnant wife dies in a car crash. They save the baby. He's in the hospital with the baby. Oh, and he's holding the baby's hands to this. Sounds like, yeah, it's going to go dark places. Anybody home? I'm walking through your nest. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not at the nest yet. I thought this was the nest. Yeah, I'm stealing your children. Come on. Oh. That's why I'm not getting attacked there. It's already out. I have its eggs. Level 50. Still not that hard. The way the noises are delayed when you kill those things. I thought there was another one. 3 stim packs. Deathlon meat. Black titanium scrap. Good stuff. No, I think with the games, while you're typing out the rest of that there, the idea of releasing a game like charging $50 for something that's clearly a copy with reduced functionality, consumers need more recourse in software purchases. Right now, they do not. We're kind of back in the 50s, where it's buyer beware, and people don't have a lot of rights, and that's garbage. He got a message from God, and he did what God said, so he pinches the air tube. Ew. Yeah, that is rough. Nasty mole rats. Wow. You're a level 50 mole rat. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually taking damage now. It's a whole new world. What's wrong?
It's a whole new world.
Oh, no, I'm not seeing a whole new world. No one wants that but you. I think you don't even want it, really. Any other giant mole rats? Yeah, that is sad.
What, that you won't sing?
No, that the story in this other game is a guy who kills his infant child.
I thought they were on my side.
What?
I thought they were on my side.
Oh. Nope. If I ever monetize the stream, and there's some promise of I'm selling out here. I'm promising I'll sell out, basically. Yeah, if I can get money for it, yeah, I'll caterwaul and do it for, I'll shame myself for money in the hat. Not really. Is it ready yet? Oh, it can't be. So where are the other ones? Probably out back. Made you get so upset with the guy, and you had a vendetta against him for the rest of the game. Yep. Created emotional stakes for you. So that happened for me in Fallout 4. And I think that everyone has their own variation on that kind of trigger, right? There's a story in Fallout 4 where you find this junkyard. And spoiler alerts, yada yada. It's not part of the main story. But you find this junkyard. And in that junkyard is a shipping container, one of the big containers that a family lived in. And as you go around and kind of figure out what happened, you realize that I think it was the super mutants there either cut the power or otherwise a Tommy whacker, whatever, cut the power or otherwise cut off their they had like a air supply. The air supply being cut off depressurized the thing in such a way they couldn't get the door open. And so this family of people suffocate inside their shelter, hiding from the super mutants. And maybe it was because I was playing the game at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and maybe it was just the way they told the story or the way I discovered it. Like, it really got to me. It's exactly what you're describing. It really ticked me off, and I have had a vendetta against super mutants, like, ever since that point. Like, throughout the rest of playing Fallout 4, like, anytime I'd run into a super mutant, you know, I'd take particular pleasure in just, you know, hacking them to bits. That particular level I finished going around, I think, with a knife. I think I had a cultic blade at the time. And I went around just cutting the crap out of all the super mutants. Like, that story, for some reason, really got to me. It really ticked me off what they'd done. You go in and you see, in the shipping container, there's the place where they buried the kids, and the father was the last one to survive, I think. I may be remembering some of the details wrong. But yeah. It just hit the right emotional note at the right time in the game. And yeah, we'll go ahead and set up the workshop here. And then I think we're going to just build a tower here. We'll get up in the tower. I'll make sure nothing else can come up after us. And we'll shoot things from up on top of our little private tower. I can't do it yet. Waiting. Excuse me.
Did you let Liam out, Seth? You let Liam out? Well, I thought it was 10 minutes.
And we've talked a lot about the Last of Us. They are master craftspeople at that kind of emotional setup. They know how to do that better than anyone else I know. I'll say too, though, I mean, that's actually why I started playing BioShock again. Or not BioShock again. BioShock was like my re-entry into video games. Before I tell that story, let me see what you said here. So another story in Fallout 4 is there's a man with 2 sons in a bunker, and the mother had been killed by raiders, and the youngest boy kept talking about how he was so excited to see his mom. Right? Yep. Yeah, I think I remember the part you're talking about. Still claiming it? What? Wait a minute. Did someone else take it? What the heck was that? It looked like it had another player's... Did I steal it from someone? Did I just steal it? I didn't mean to. Someone may be coming to kill me shortly. I was talking, I didn't notice. That's an interesting name. I am a druid. Well, if that was a person, I don't actually see them on the map now. I'm curious. I want to know. Basically, if someone's going to come after me, I want to know, do I let them come up and, like, are they level 400 or 500? Am I doomed? Or do we engage? There's Mr. Scotch. I don't know. I honestly don't know there. Well, I didn't see anything set up here either, so I'm actually, if it was owned by someone, I'm a little surprised. And I didn't think that, even then, I don't think I would have been able to claim it without, oh, there's Invisicamp again. That's so weird. Yeah, don't know. See, how their mom won't be able to find them. You remember crying listening to the message, right? Yep. No, there was some decent writing in Fallout 4. I feel like the writing in this one is not terrible. It's just, I don't know, it was not as emotionally gripping. Did not get me, did not tug at my heartstrings in nearly the same way that some of the stuff in 4 did. Hey, so I can't remember. Anyway, I was going to ask if you had played Detroit Become Human. I think I made the name right, but I say it out loud and now it sounds wrong. And the reason I asked is that was another one that, to me, they had a couple really, really good emotional notes in it. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with finding this person. Okay, we're done. I gotta set up my tower so I can defend the place. It's get busy. I'm gonna have a bunch of mole rats show up and I'm not gonna be ready. Move that. Move that. Remove it. Remove. Move the thing. R. Remove. We did it. Haven't played it. It's a good one. And I think they actually, so it came out initially as a PlayStation exclusive. I'm pretty sure there's a PC version now. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Like, definitely, look up some stuff about it, because it's a little bit more, not really, it's not like a shooter or anything. It's all narrative and narrative choices and stuff, and some quick time events throughout, because that is what they do, that particular company, that designer. Quick time events are his thing. But I really, really enjoyed it. So the reason I bring it up too is Detroit Become Human tells virtually the same story as Fallout 4 in a completely different context. It's one of those stories that the main storyline raises questions about what it means to be human, and it uses androids to kind of explore that question. To me, it does so in a much more mature and nuanced way. If you're interested in the stories around that idea, this is a really good example of that kind of story. It's a choice game, and some of the choices are timed, right? They're dynamic. You have to hit the right button at the right time. Hence, that's a quick time events thing. As a narrative game, if you like that sort of thing at all, though, it was one of the best examples I've played. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's very quotable. There's a lot of stuff in there that, I like dogs. You play the game, you understand what that phrase means. Connor is awesome. He's a Boy Scout, but he's very likable. Alright, well, we don't want blueprints, we want floors. And for floors, we'll just put some of these down. 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. We hop inside, and then we wall. And what kind of wall do we do? Let's do contemporary house wall, because I've never used those. Doesn't really matter, I just need walls. Woo! Okay, now we need stairs. Use fancy Nutritola stairs, as we can. So we're going to do this. I'm going to say, not scrap, store, more floors, 2 more floors, 1, 2, then walls. Yeah, if you like that kind of game enough to play a game like that many times, you should be just fine. So it was interesting to me too. Some people complained about the game because they felt like it's supposed to be futuristic, but it didn't look that far in the future. To me, they actually did a much more sort of Jules Verne style prediction where, yeah, it wasn't incredibly futuristic, but what they predicted, I think, was probably closer. Why? There. Closer to what that, supposed future technology will look like. I think that there's a sort of intent in what they were doing. Man, this thing's being an absolute bear. And I hate bears. This is probably high enough. I was going to build something up another level. Let's go ahead, because I can. I got nothing better to do. But I was going to say, so I started playing Bioshock again as on a fluke. It was Bioshock. I had heard about Bioshock 1 from a friend who kind of described it as this thing where it was underwater and that looked really cool. And, whoops, not walls, floors. That looked really cool. But then there were points in the game where you had to decide, like, you could either use children for your own benefit, you'd like murder them for your own benefit, or you could save them, but then you'd kind of take a penalty on no, I've not played Until Dawn. I've not played that. I've heard of it, never played it. I know, shocked in amazement. Yet another game I have not played. And I heard that about Bioshock and I was like, that sounds awful, I'm not playing that. And then Bioshock 2 was free on the PlayStation Store for a while with the the PlayStation Plus account. I thought I'd kind of forgotten what it was about. The trailer looked interesting, looked kind of like I said, undersea theme, undersea and a particular period of history that, like, the design looked very, very cool. This is gonna drive me insane. So I gave it a shot and got hooked almost immediately. I mean, this idea that you have a choice in the game, that choice I was talking about, either save the kids or use them, basically murder them for your own advantage, flipped a switch in my brain. It gave me one of the stronger motives I've ever experienced in a game around the idea of saving all the kids.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good night's sleep.
You too.
Thank you. And so I actually played them out of order. I played Bioshock 2 all the way through, and then went back and played Bioshock 1, and then Infinite and all the DLC. Eventually played, there's a DLC for Bioshock 2 that I can't remember. The guy who designed was sort of the writer, the director in charge of the expansion for Bioshock 2 was the same guy who made the games Gone Home and Tacoma. He works in Portland, I think, up near where I am. Anyway, really good game designer. Minerva's Den, that's what it was called. And I made this little perch up here because I was expecting something to come and get me. And now nothing's coming, and I'm honestly kind of disappointed. Like, where are the bad guys? I don't know. No, so I played through the entire Bioshock series multiple times. Actually, so on my old YouTube account, this is when I first started streaming, and I had actually this was pre-streaming. I just went on like, well, I guess I should maybe be fun to post videos. So I recorded the big reveal in the original Bioshock game. Would you kindly? And that for a long time had more views than anything else on my old YouTube channel, because someone referenced it in an article, and so it suddenly it went from nothing to boom, like thousands of hits on the video. I'm like, what in the heck happened? Went and looked at the traffic, and they're all coming from this online video game blog / magazine. So that was kind of fun. Yeah, so BioShock Infinite to me was, I liked it. I didn't like it. It didn't have the same hook that the other BioShock games did. I really enjoyed it. Playing through the first part of it, the main game, Elizabeth's character is kind of problematic to me in the way they set her up. She's supposed to be this naive and yet independent young woman. And they make her into it. There's a name for this, where they basically take a child and put her in a grown-up's body. And it's a little off-putting. And then they completely ruin her character in the DLC, if you ask me. I was not happy with the DLC and where they went with it. I thought it was unnecessarily cynical and fatalistic. I think that they ruined her character straight up. She spent her life locked in this tower, studying the world, eager to get out and experience the world. And what does she do in this sort of made-up universe that she starts off in the DLC? She's in Paris, and so what is she doing? Is she painting? No. Is she even like dancing or something? No. She studied cryptography in the tower. That's one of the skills she has in the game. So she at a university, is she studying? Nope. She's sitting around in cafes, like, diddling at the fact that everyone said she's pretty. Like there's an actual newspaper article in the game that you find on the table that's talking about, who is this beautiful young woman? I'm like, this is Elizabeth's ideal reality, is people fawning over her in Paris with nothing to do. Nah. Bad character writing. Alright, no one is coming. This thing is here in case anyone attacks. You're just so confused in it, you never finished it. Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's with the whole opening doors into other realities. They raise some interesting questions around the idea of different timelines and quantum variation and this sort of thing. And I liked that. I liked part of what they explored. So part of the reason I played that one too, to be quite honest here, is because I remember hearing that there was someone on the staff who had worked on the game who was a self-professing Christian who, when they saw the original ending to the game, quit their job. Now, you gotta imagine that. You are a developer. You have a job working on one of the most hotly anticipated AAA company games to come out in years, right? You're working under the direction of one of the most recognized, what's a good word for it? I keep thinking of figurehead, and that's not it. He's just a very recognized talent in the gaming industry in terms of writing and directing. And what could make a person, when they see the end result of what they've been working on, got to killing Ulysses. Oh, Comstock, probably. I'm guessing you mean Comstock. I can't remember anyone else named Ulysses, but it's been a while. I guess I'm going to wait around and see if anyone actually attacks that settlement, and we can go back if they do. Let's go make another. I guess I could go around looking for caps too. Still gotta collect 250 on a daily. 250 caps on a daily. Sheesh. Wookie love. Gross. Who did that one? Cavond. This is... Oh, yep. Claimed by Stoolge. So it is someone else. So I did take it from someone. The question is, are they still on the server? Or did they leave and it just keeps their name? And there's Mr. Lewid. Yeah, I've not seen any place else to claim. Yeah, that would be Comstock. Yep. What was his first name in the game? I wrote so many different blog posts on this one game, and I cannot remember his name. It's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway. Oh, so yeah. So, person working for the company saw the original ending of the game, quit his job. And so, being a Christian myself, I'm like, what did he see? Like, what could he have seen in that game to make him think, like, I just can't work for this company anymore? I was very, very curious what they might have done. So I was curious to play through from that point of view. And there were things in the game that I know really upset some people. Like since you played through the first part of it, you saw there's sort of a forced baptism early on in the game. A lot of people I read were upset at that scene. They did not like that idea. From both sides, right? Both sides of the coin. Let's see, what else? To me, what they ended up presenting in the game was a very culturally relevant, nationalistic version of what some people might call Christianity, where it's this combination of the Christian faith merged with American idealism and nationalism. And you see that now, right? I mean, that's really rampant right now, honestly. Oh, I almost had his name. It started to kind of float through the back of my head, and I looked too soon and it went away. And so I won't go over the end of the game because, for reasons, I'm always very leery of spoilers. But there are some things in the end that raise questions around how they perceive faith in general. But the thing is, that's why you engage in art, because it's okay to have things that raise challenges so that you can think through them, so that you can come up with your own response. Zachary, thank you, Zachary. I'm like, as soon as you said it, well, now it's obvious. Yes, you looked at, you got the name. That's the guy. Level 50 super mutants now. Yeah, you still die easy. Oh, you didn't die right away. I'm surprised. There we go. Finally, you're not all wimps. Don't kill me. Oops. Where is he? Let's throw a grenade at you. Whoops. Again. Hit the wrong button. Oh, that killed him. Where's the other guy? Yep. And there is a twist about Zachary Hale Comstock if you keep playing the game. You find out things about who he is and where he came from, and part of the thing that may be offensive to some people about that game is in that twist, and who Comstock is and how he became what he is. Yeah, yep, you got it. Yeah, so since it's out in the open now, that's the basic idea, is that there was a sort of a split in the timeline where in one timeline Booker rejected his baptism. So he's there in the river with a bunch of the other soldiers who were at Wounded Knee and did these terrible things. And a bunch of them are being baptized. And he takes offense at the idea. And he rejects it. And then in that timeline, he remains Booker. In any of the timelines where he made a different choice, where he actually accepted the baptism, he turned into this megalomaniacal monster. How's that for alliteration? So the guy gets baptized, he gets saved, and he becomes this just awful, awful person. But again, it's not that simple. Like, you listen to his lines. No one's blowing up, and that disappoints me terribly. You listen to his lines in the game, and what he is espousing is warped. You know what I mean? Like, there's a big difference between someone who shows an understanding of an idea, a faith, understands its history and its context and its nuances, and then there's someone who just uses it for personal gain. And in the story, he is one of the people who sees the potential in this idea to mentally absolve himself of something that he didn't just do that wasn't just terrible. It was terrible and he enjoyed it. That he really, really, he got off on the idea of what he did. So yeah, he becomes a different kind of terrible person, right? So it was fun for me going through from that perspective. Like, before I even played, I knew that was a question in the game. I knew that there was something centered around the idea of faith and Christianity that, some people took significant offense at. I'm like, well, I want to know. Like, I want to know, like, what did they do that was so, problematic that it would cause that kind of reaction? And I'm glad I did. I ended up, like I said, I actually wrote quite a bit on it. And that was a fun time. That was the period, like I said, when I had not played games regularly for a very long time. And that series was the one that, it was thoughtful. It was genuinely thoughtful. Unlike so many games that come out these days. Yeah, it had explosions and guts and, you know what I mean? Like magic powers that, let you roast people where they stand. It had all the things that games typically have. But if you took the time to kind of, pay attention to what's going on in all those games, they raise really, really fascinating questions. Philosophical questions. Questions about art and story and narrative and free will. If you are into that sort of idea, there's a lot to explore. Credit to the guy, like, I know his first name because we have the same first name in real life. But again, me and my name thing, it's going away. But anyway, so let's just say that the guy, Ken Levine, that was it. Ken Levine is the one who actually did the BioShock series. He did 1 and he did Infinite. Different team worked on number 2, and apparently he had some problems with some inconsistencies in the story. But anyway, so he is in real life. He's what without trying to put ideas in his brain, I think he is a self-professing objectivist, which is the philosophy of Ayn Rand. And if people are listening and they don't like philosophy, you're listening to the wrong stream. But anyway, yeah, so he adheres to a lot of the tenets that Ayn Rand does about the notion of how selfishness is a virtue. And that's an oversimplified statement. I'm saying it because it's one of those sort of key punch you in the brain ideas that gets associated with Ayn Rand's philosophy. But it absolutely does stress the importance of sort of, serving yourself first. It is in favor of laissez-faire capitalism and a lot of ideas that are pretty interesting, fairly, by my measure, fairly extreme when you look at them very close. But yeah, so the point is, he espouses this philosophy, but here's the thing. He explores it in the game. The guy who built the undersea city of Rapture is also an objectivist. He practically wrote that whole game in the style of Ayn Rand's novels, where you get all the recordings that you listen to in the game, the speeches and all that is straight up Ayn Rand. That is, her main characters carry around. Everyone has their own soapbox that they get on periodically, to just let loose these monologues about the ideas behind, their philosophy, whatever it is. And he did the same sort of thing. Someone else is claiming my workshop. That's fine. I'm just blathering. I didn't do it. Of course they're gonna do it. Are they high level? Can I take them? You're higher level than I am. I'm not gonna shoot you. Hello. I wanted this. Don't kill me. That's okay. Yeah? Just hello. How you doing? Yeah. It's all good. Anywho. The point I'm trying to make here in this big long drawn out thing is that that game struck a really good balance between offering what a lot of people want out of a game, shooting stuff, blowing things up, like a story that they could, they could follow on multiple levels. If you're into something that required more, that would like reward you for a deeper analysis, that was all there too. And the big twist in that game, in the original BioShock, prompted more reflection on what games are and how they work and how they fit into narrative, ideas in general, than anything else I've ever played. And I think they prompted a lot of similar responses in academia too, in game studies and that sort of thing. So yeah, even now, highly recommended. In fact, I own I don't know how many different copies of that game already, because I got it for multiple platforms, multiple editions on the PC. I've bought a lot of BioShock, and you know what? When the right time comes and I want to go back and try again, they have another remastered edition that I've never played through yet, and so I will very likely play through that one at some point too. Not yet, though. It's not time. And then Ken Levine, so he was supposedly working on a new thing. He's been supposedly working on a new thing for a long time now. I've not heard anything about it for years. He wanted to do something that used narrative building blocks in the game. So some computer-generated content, which doesn't thrill me, but even that's an interesting discussion in itself as to why we might be more emotionally invested. Like, if you read a story and it moves you, it makes you cry, it makes you laugh, it produces some strong emotional response. But then you find out that the story was written by a robot. And the story was really just sort of, generated out of an aggregate of data processed by an artificial intelligence. Does the story lose weight? Do you feel differently about the story once you know that a person didn't write it? And if so, how come? And so, whether he intended for that to be a thing or not, or he was just looking for a cool way to make a cool game, I think he tends to focus on things that yield strong ideas that, are really worth reflecting on. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I've got to get those video clips made so I can put that up on the channel. Oh! Oh, I forgot. You guys are like nasty now. I can't just ignore the ones that are up here. I'm so used to ignoring the ones that are right up here. Like, you guys are a bunch of wimps. I don't have to pay attention to you. I'm just going to go through and very casually, shoot all your friends down below. I'll deal with you when I'm getting ready. No, I can't do that anymore. Everyone's a badass now. Yeah, I'm going through my stim packs much, much faster than I used to. Eh. They're tougher. They're still not so tough. So you wouldn't? Let's see. You wouldn't just think, oh, cool, that's awesome AI. Yeah, so for me, it would probably lose something in the story. There's some connection that my brain makes about the idea that, yeah, the story isn't just... Like, there's a story to the story. Ooh, that's actually a lot higher up than I thought it was. Someone writes a story. You know, they're always going to be the stories that are like commercial fodder. You know, they make them because they got to write something to make some money. No harm, no foul. But then there's stories that, you know, like Lord of the Rings. Why did Tolkien write that story? C.S. Lewis and the Narnia stories, or the Space Trilogy. What prompted that person to explore those particular ideas in that way? How much of this came from... How much of the Lord of the Rings came from Tolkien's experience in World War One? Like, I personally can't get away from exploring those kinds of ideas as I read whatever it is I'm reading. I read a lot of an author right now, a guy named Don DeLillo, who I had never heard of until less than a year ago. And I never would have thought I would have enjoyed the kinds of books that he writes. There's another one. So far, it's all ghouls who explode. What's the deal with that? But knowing that Don DeLillo wrote a lot of what he did early on in squalor, like he quit, I think he lived on $60 a month in New York, if you can imagine. Now, this would have been back in the 70s and 80s. It's not like trying to do that today where you'd be on the street and starving for that much. But still, I mean, he lived in abject poverty in order to pursue writing the books that he wanted to write. That adds into the story to me. So an AI putting something together, the meta-narrative for me kind of falls apart. The story behind the story is an AI. It's interesting. You know, it's like, wow, okay, the idea that an algorithm put together those ideas. And if it was a story that was really moving, it would be like, how much of that was the AI detecting what constitutes emotional content, and how much of it was it got lucky, you know? I feel that people would be able to put more heart into something, but you're really open-minded, yeah. Yeah, I'll say I don't see it as, for me personally, I don't necessarily see it as a question of being open-minded as it is a social connection, right? One of the main reasons for investing in any kind of art is making the connection with the individual who made the art. I mean, we see that in fandom and stuff, right? That one principle alone is what drives a lot of Comic-Cons and that kind of thing, because people want to go make they want to go make the people who make the things they liked. No, they would like to go meet the people who make the things that they love, and they want to hear the stories about them. They want to hear the story about how this idea came from a chance encounter. They want to hear the, now, like I said, though, I mean, the idea, enjoying... Now, you blew up. Awesome. Enjoying something that was made by an AI, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not saying that's somehow lesser or problematic. Depending on how an individual person enjoys stories, it's going to lose an element. Like tons of people, good example, actually, and it ties into the other example I was mentioning. The Shadow of Mordor games, right? Have you played any of those? I played partially through the first one. I'm trying to think of how many there are now. I don't know. And part of the thing in those games is they generate nemesis for you, right? They generate these high-level matched bad guys that have unique names, that have unique backstories. They get vendettas. Your character develops intentionally in the game. It's designed to make connections with these bad guys so that if they kill you, they kind of get, they get an advantage over you. So there's more to it than just like in this, where I'm going around and is that new? What the heck is that? Oh, no, that's just a boat. That looked really, really weird for a minute. That did not look right for a second. Oh, they took the racetrack. I have to go back and reclaim it. Okay. Let's see. Just one of the things that made you love Until Dawn so much is that the windows in it are based around real Indian legend. Yeah, that too. Yeah, folklore in particular. It's a really good example because that's like kind of like shared cultural story, right? Stories from folklore run really, really deep. Heard something snarl. They touch on things that go back through generations, common ideas, and that's a good example to me. Like what establishes that sort of a social connection in the story. Let's go to the racetrack. I guess we'll take care of that. But yeah, so playing through Shadow of Mordor, lots of people absolutely loved the dynamic Nemesis system. And I was really curious about it when I heard about it. I was not thrilled with the idea of the game itself because I like Tolkien and I could not imagine that someone could follow up with a story. Like, you can't just, to me, treat the Tolkien universe like other fan fiction universes. Maybe that's snooty of me. I don't know. I don't care. But I wasn't that thrilled going in. But I tried it out. Does the Nemesis system add anything to the game? And for me, it absolutely did not. Like, it did nothing for me. It registered no additional emotional content for me. But for many other people who absolutely loved that game, oh, heck yeah, it did. That was a really strong selling point of that game for a lot of people. Let's get that up there. And some of the legends are based around northern Michigan forests, so right around where you live. Yeah. Yep. That town I've talked about that I grew up in. So I grew up in off in the boonies for part of my childhood, like way off in the woods, away from any big cities, and in particular around redwood trees, which there's nothing like a redwood forest where these trees are hundreds, thousands of years old, monstrous, huge things. I had a friend who lived down near this one spot where there was a stump where they cut down the tree and turned the stump on its side, cut a section of it, hollowed it, put structural support inside, and turned the log into a small building. These are the trees that are big enough that you can carve out a section of them and you can drive a car through them. And the stump from one of those trees that they cut down that was so huge was not far from my friend's house. And so we would go down there, and there was a rope. The way redwoods grow, you get multiple trees coming up out of the same spot. Well, there was still another smaller redwood trees, which are still bigger than most trees. And they had a rope swing attached to some of those trees, and so you could run the perimeter of the stump, hang onto the rope, swing out over the edge, and either you could just let yourself swing back, you'd land back on the stump, or if you wanted, they had set up an old ratty mattress off the stump, and so you'd swing out around and let go, and go flying and land on this mattress. Or you'd be like me and you'd miss the mattress and just like your hand would land on it and you'd be in intense pain for a little bit and you couldn't breathe. Why describe the forest? Because that area had lots and lots of lore, like you're talking about. Lots of stories of things that probably connected back to generational stories, family stories. And so that connection you're describing where you hear the stories, but then you're in the place where the stories took place, where they happened, it's a whole nother thing. I actually miss that. I miss that a lot because growing up someplace that was so rich in, it's hard to describe, just so rich in its experience like that. It was awesome. It was really, really cool. All right, we've done that thing. Goes back to an older idea of storytelling, really, right? Let's see. Store, scrap, replace. Yeah, that's it. Replace. Nope, 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 nope. That one. Temporarily. Yeah, like where I live now, having moved here as an adult, not knowing its history in the same way that you learn a history like when you're young, I'll never feel as connected to this place as I did growing up in this place called Fieldbrook down in California. The woods behind your house had these quicksand-like mud spots near the rivers, and there was a tale where two lumberjacks got in a fight, and one killed the other, hollowed out a tree, and sank him in it. That's exactly the kind of story I'm talking about. Yep. For us, there was a family who, unfortunately, there had been some really extreme abuse in the family, and it ended in someone murdering someone else. They found the person who murdered the other person. This is just the story. The facts, like if you go back and look for this case, you're not going to find something like this. But the story that went around, which is, how it happens, but also unfortunate that it happens this way. But the story went around was that, yeah, they found the person in this one area that was already kind of notorious, like it was called the Triangle. People, kids especially around the area, made up lots and lots of stories of this place. And supposedly that's where they found the person after they'd murdered someone. And it was a spot that we went near every day on the way to school. I mean, this is one of the reasons that, To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favorite books of all time. And I really, really connect with it because even though I've never been to the American South, I did not grow up in the American South, the kinds of stories that they talk about, Boo Radley and the Radley House and all those those places, or their equivalents, exist in my own memory growing up in Fieldbrook as a kid. So, it's nothing quite like it. Small town America is weird, man. It is not Mayberry. Maybe Mayberry exists, but I think there are probably more Radley houses and Fieldbrooks and that kind of thing. All right. Well, I think I'm probably going to call it good for tonight. I actually have to get some writing done and probably even get some more work done before the morning. I am going to set my alarm so I can get up at 6 local time, that's 6 Pacific, and maybe play some Craftopia. Honestly, my brain has been impervious to my alarm clock all week. I don't know if that's going to work. If it doesn't work tomorrow, I'm just going to keep trying. Is Farewell a real place in Oregon? I've not heard of Farewell. I've heard of Boring and Drain. And what are some of the other kind of famous Oregon places? I mean, even Bend. A lot more people have heard of Bend, Oregon, but to me, even that's kind of an interesting... Like, Bend? Really? Yeah, Farewell does not ring a bell. So, but that could be my ignorance too. Maybe I've just never heard of it. So yeah, I'm going to try to get up in the morning and play Craftopia, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, it's a place in Days Gone. Oh, okay. I don't think so. I don't think it's a real place. I'll look up it. Well, let me shut this down and I'll go look. I can do that on stream. I was going to say, in terms of origin places that are like in games, there's the game... What happens to my brain? I'm going to have to look it up. I'll look that one up in a minute, too. It was a game that was originally, again, a PlayStation exclusive for a while. And it's another kind of a choice-by-choice game.
Several elements identified as brightest deviant materials.
Really good soundtrack in it. I remember starting at the game and playing through the first part, and just really, really cool start to the... I've never played through the whole thing just because time and availability and whatnot, so... But then so the reason I bring that one up too is the first part takes place at an art high school in Oregon that I think is based in a real place, and its sequel goes down to Humboldt County where I grew up. So it kind of spans both, a couple of the areas that I've lived in for quite a while. So I thought that would be kind of fun to see both. All right. What else to do here? I think we're probably good.
We can stay.
Oh, let's go and go to the scoreboard and claim our things. We have armor ace. Looks like... I don't even know quite what that is. A health kit bundle. And then we're working on the military footlocker stash box. That looks kind of fun. Apparently I know I'm over encumbered. Oh, cooking. Let's go cook up the meat that I got today so it doesn't go to waste. And for that, we'll put on super duper. And just so you can get this in, I hope I have a great night. I'm glad. Oh yeah, same here. Always good to catch up. I was planning on playing to an empty room tonight, honestly, because I'm starting to realize that I play in an absolute dead zone in the streaming schedule. Like the time I have available to play, not a lot of people watch. It's kind of between time zones for people and stuff. But so I was really glad to see you stop by. Always more fun to play when there are folks around. So, and I love the conversation. To be clear, even though, so I think we kind of disagreed on some points in the discussion tonight, that's awesome. I would much rather have a really good back and forth on some of these topics. Like, I worry more about the fact that sometimes I can get a little stubborn, a little blunt about presenting some of the ideas. I never want to do that. I never want to be in the position like, hey, I've got my ideas and I'm confident in them, and I like to share them as much as the next person, but I never want it to become overbearing, heavy-handed. So I really enjoyed our conversation tonight. We talked about some big ideas and, to me, some important things in the gaming industry, so that was pretty cool. Okay, we have our meat. So there, I just had one of the moments I've been looking for. Remember, the original goal with this thing was to make it look like I lived in my own little town somewhere. And right as I'm over here at the stove cooking, and I turn past the window, and I look outside, and there's that, gas lamp, and the guy wandering through the bar in there, and the, thing, it was in my head there for half a second. 10 Ton Town was like an actual place, like a much bigger place. That was really cool. That's what I'm looking for. Let's start at the fire. I gotta figure out how to decorate this place a little better. I don't know. Got the new fancy couch. I like that. Yeah, and you are always respectful in the way you present your ideas, so no worries there. I'll say this. I mean, to me, it's really important. It's like when you see people who like to exercise together, they like going for a run, and there are a couple different ways you do it, right? Sometimes they run side by side, and they're talking, and it's kind of friendly. But then every once in a while, it's like, hey, let's kind of push ourselves, and they maybe there's just a little bit of a give and take, a kind of a friendly competition in that. But it's good to push yourself in that respect, and to do that in an area that you both enjoy. You do that with a lot of physical things, lifting weights and playing sports and that kind of thing. Intellectually, it can be a little more personal somehow. But in the same way, like I like being able to really press hard on ideas now and then. Yeah. Okay, so we got the food made. Let's see. We'll have a Deathclaw steak, and we don't need to have a grilled red steak. We'll save that. Mole rat chunks are just fine. Drink some more water. The rest of it's pretty good. So yeah, let's put this Annika to bed.
The things I miss.
Shut down the game, and we'll go look up some things on some other topics real quick. What am I doing? I'm going to apparel, and I am taking off the helmet and the backpack and the armor and putting on the suspenders and slacks. I'm going to bed. So there's that. And while she's there, we'll go over and pull up a browser. And the thing is, you can see my desktop now. This is what lives behind the game. This ends up being just a little bit more reliable than trying to connect to multiple game windows, swapping between the two different games. Easier just to say, just show whatever is on that monitor. Welcome to my email. Like I said, I now get accustomed to maybe being a little more cautious about this. So we were going to look up a couple things. Farewell, Oregon. That was one. I'm curious about this too. Days Gone, Wiki Fandom, yeah. So location. Whoop. All the ads popping up, primarily in its background. So probably... Remember I was talking about Bend? The reason I'm laughing is, I don't know, Bend, when you mentioned that, I can't remember the order these things came up in. And I know very little about the game. But when we're talking about this post-apocalyptic thing, and I'm thinking about the pictures I've seen of the game, where it's kind of like you see on the sides here, it's kind of in the country, whatever. Like Bend came to mind. Like that's sort of a natural, like that's where I would have expected it. So yeah, apparently Farewell, however you say it, is based on Bend, Oregon. Oh, that's what their game studio is. So yeah, I have a friend whose son actually worked at a game studio down there. So I'm kind of, how many game studios are there in Bend? I wonder if he actually worked there. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'll have to see. So the other one's going to be a little tougher to look up. It's a game. It is in Oregon. Woo! At an art school.
Chems, surrounded by friends. Yeah, this is the life.
And then they're like, you want to find a school? I'm like, no, Doodle, I don't. Ah, it's gonna kill me, man. I almost had it. I think this is talking about it. I saw the word amalgam. Life is Strange. That's it. So it's set in a fictional Oregon coast town called Arcadia Bay. So there's... Arcadia Bay sounds like it's probably based on... what is wrong with my brain? Astoria. Willing to bet it's based on Astoria, which is in the far, like, northwest corner of Oregon and is right on the ocean. And it just, having played the first part of the game, it looks like it's probably based there. But then, yeah, Life is Strange 2 is based in... Yeah, part of Humboldt County, which is where Fieldbrook is, which is where I was talking about that I grew up. Yep, Humboldt County, Redwoods. You get the idea. Alrighty. Pull up Fallout so we have a proper closing screen here. Really think that we'd see a lot more things differently, but we seem to have a lot of the same experiences. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Which is cool. You know, it's nice to be able to find those places that we can, you know, share those kinds of ideas. Don't get to do that nearly as much as I would like. I think that's probably a pretty common idea. Alrighty, so that's it for tonight. Maybe I will be online tomorrow morning. I really hope I will. I think it'd be a good way to kind of relax a little bit before work. And then that would leave my evenings open to be able to do some other things, like writing this novel I've been trying to write for 2 years now. So, again, had a great time tonight. Thanks for stopping by, as always. In terms of Fallout, I love some of the new features. The new legendary perks are outstanding. Gonna have a lot of fun building those up. That's great. Really, really sucks that the stealth effects are effectively canceled in the new raid. That is awful. But anyway, it's just a game. What are you gonna do? Anyway, but it's frustrating because looking at what they have available for some of the rewards for going through the whole track, they have some good stuff in there. They have some stuff that looks like it would be really fun. Again, if you want to be able to take full advantage of that, you kind of have to be able to do all the daily things they offer. And right now, it feels like some of them are kind of off limits. I mean, the one that they had the other day when my wife tried it out was a daily ops mission where you had to kill a bunch of robots. There's a new word. A bunch of robots with melee weapons. And stealth wasn't working. Like, all those things together, like, just forget it. Like, that's no fun. But yeah, legendary perks are good. I like the fact now that they level up the enemies based on your level. So now, instead of my neighbors being a bunch of low-level goons, they're going to be a serious challenge every day. That's great. That's more experience. That's more pressure in the game, right? Good, positive anxiety, positive pressure. What else did they add? What else is new? I think that's pretty much it so far. And then the only other things that I think are really new are stuff in the Atomic Shop. But the Atomic Shop this week, not great. Like, I'm not really interested in the Mothman bundle or the Hunter. None of those things. The Dungeon Door is okay. I really don't need it. It doesn't really fit with the theme.
Well, that's a bummer.
What's that?
I got the weight bench and it doesn't work.
No kidding.
Yeah, this is unavailable for this use. For use. Even though it looks like I should be able to.
So we have Brotherhood of Steel Collectron Station, and my wife she's playing on the PlayStation here. And she's just pointing out that there's a new item that's a weight bench that you're supposed to be able, your character should be able to use. You get a strength bonus for a limited amount of time. Awesome. But it doesn't work. She goes to use it and she gets a message just saying, this item is currently unavailable for use. They're always a little bit behind in their own schedule and ambitions. What are you gonna do? Oh well. Alright, we'll let that music play out there. And I think I've said goodbye like 3 times now. For reals this time. Have a good night. God bless. Take care. And we will see you again soon.
That is a bummer.
Hope you have a great night.